Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning, welcome. I am Alexandre Chabert, journalist. I am very happy to accompany you during these 2 days under the sign of Europe. To open Indetech 2022, I would like to welcome Claire Giry, Director General of Research and Innovation at the Ministry of Higher Education and Research. Claire Giry, your applause, please. Thank you. Welcome. It's yours. You can take a microphone. It's yours.
Okay, it works. Merci beaucoup à vous de cette présidence de séance. Merci aux journalistes modérateurs, aux animateurs. Et puis, avant tout, je souhaite saluer Maria Gabriel, que nous entendrons dans un instant, Madame la Commissaire européenne à l'innovation, à la recherche, la culture, l'éducation et la jeunesse. Johanna également, nous l'entendrons tout à l'heure. Je veux saluer aussi Elvira Fortunato, Madame la Ministre de la Science, de la Technologie et de l'Enseignement supérieur du Portugal. Johanna, donc directrice générale adjointe chargée de la mise en œuvre de l'impact et des stratégies d'investissement durable à la DGRTD et à la Commission européenne. Je cite le titre de Johanna en entier. Nous nous voyons régulièrement dans ce type d'événement et peut-être que c'est le dernier événement, Johanna, puisque c'est un des derniers événements de cette présidence française. Je salue également le CEA. Bonjour à Bruno Feignet et merci de son accueil au centre de Grenoble qu'il dirige. Et enfin, monsieur le maire de Grenoble, monsieur Éric Piolle, merci beaucoup de votre accueil. Je suis particulièrement heureuse d'être ici à Grenoble, dans ce lieu moderne, magnifique, qui incarne parfaitement l'innovation, pour inaugurer au nom de la présidence française du Conseil de l'Union européenne ce grand événement européen sur les technologies industrielles du futur, Indetech 2022. Et je veux d'abord remercier justement le CEA et en particulier CEA Tech d'avoir répondu présent pour il y a un peu plus d'un an et demi quand le ministère que je représente faisait le pari en plein confinement de renouer avec des événements en présentiel. C'était pas forcément évident, mais on le souhaitait tous ardemment et je crois qu'on ne le regrette pas aujourd'hui. Merci également à la Commission européenne et aux membres du Conseil scientifique d'Indetech 2022. Merci aux équipes du ministère qui, avec les équipes de Peter Droll et le CEA, ont pu organiser tout cet événement et surtout préparer un contenu qui, je crois, va être très riche. Et puis enfin, merci à la ville de Grenoble, capitale européenne de l'environnement pour 2022, qui nous reçoit magnifiquement et merci aux nombreux partenaires de la recherche et de l'industrie qui sont présents aujourd'hui. C'est vous qui allez faire vraiment la richesse de cet événement. Alors, I will switch to English now. Indetech is a highly visible event taking place every 2 years for more than 15 years now in the successive research and development framework programs of the European Union. We are honored to host it for the first time in France and under the French presidency of the European Union. It's an opportunity for us all to welcome numerous delegations in Grenoble, in this emblematic location that is the Presqu'île, in the heart of the giant campus. A giant means giant, of course, but also Grenoble Innovation for Advanced New Technologies. And it's a world reference cluster for research and industry, where thousands of researchers, engineers, students work daily with various prestigious partners that I will mention: Grenoble Polytechnic Institute, Grenoble Alpes University, CNRS, CEA, ESRF, EMBL and ILL, not to mention, of course, the many industrial partners who have made the history of the city and makes the identity of this place. So I will also particularly like to greet the students of Grenoble, and I thank them for their mobilization during this European presidency around the European Alliance of Universities, which is called UNITE, and the European Students' Parliament. The European universities will be discussed the day after tomorrow in Versailles, along with the 40 other alliances, which form one of the spearheads of our European higher education and are a key to European research area. It will be the culmination of our 6-month French presidency, the very last event, and this aspect is anything but anecdotal, because it's you, the students, that will be in charge of 2030, so the symbol is very important. Let's set now the scene at the European level. The industrial sector is a decisive area for activity. For the European Union, it represents 36 million jobs, 13 million jobs in the high industry sector, 20% of the European Union's GDP. And it's clear that this sector is the foundation of our economic, social, and environmental prosperity. Production systems are also the source of many innovations, particularly in the face of the emergence of new technologies that are constantly redesigning its modes of organization. And in fact, it's a vector for job creation and growth. It's at the heart of the vision proposed for this presidency of strengthening the square of knowledge, a graph in really the mathematical sense of the term, which constantly optimizes the links between science to society, higher education, research, and innovation. It's the logic that we and the symbol that we wanted the French presidency to be under. It's a logic that is very relevant for all of you here, I guess: co-design and co-implementation. Today, strengthening the Union's strategic autonomy has been at the heart of the French presidency's agenda. Already, the Recovery and Resilience Facility have marked a paradigm shift. It provides 672.5 billion euros in loans and grants to support the reforms and investments undertaken by the member states to mitigate the economy and social consequences of the COVID-19 pandemics, and to make European economies and societies more sustainable, more resilient, and better prepared for the challenges posed by ecological and digital transitions. This need for strategic autonomy is even stronger today with the disruption of our energy and critical material supply chains since the beginning of the war in Ukraine. And it's the condition for Europe built on knowledge and industry that is more sovereign, more innovative, and that is making progress on the path of digital and ecological transition. In this respect, the package known as Fit to 55% objective also includes major industrial challenges, including the decarbonization of industry and the development of new key sectors. This imperative has really an impact on the concrete industrial cooperation facilitated by the instrument of major project of common European interest called as PIEC, which contribute to structuring value chains, sectors, and key technologies at the European scale in the field of health, hydrogen, electronics, and cloud computing. But it also impacts the 41 industrial partnerships of Horizon Europe, which has just been launched, and many of which are present today. They form the fabric of the European industry of tomorrow. In more than one way, you represent an exceptional asset to further strengthen the links between research and industry. Your work today and tomorrow during this INTEC conference is more than needed. I note in particular two exciting debates whose conclusions I am eagerly awaiting. First, Industry 4.0 versus Industry 5.0, with a return to the human element in industrial processes, which questions our relationships to the digital transition, on which the green transition itself depends. It might be a very interesting discussion. And second, how can a new vision of advanced materials in 2030, in a systemic perspective, can contribute to the European prosperity of tomorrow? And I think it will be a good time too. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're all living in an unprecedented period that is pushing up to rethink our model of strategic industrial autonomy. We must enable Europe to reaffirm its status as a major scientific and industrial power today and tomorrow by aiming for leadership in green and digital transitions. I would like to make my own the words of Louis Néel, a physicist well known here in Grenoble. You never can have a speech in Grenoble without mentioning some words of Louis Néel. He won the Nobel Prize, as you know, in physics in 1985 for his work on the quantum Hall effect. And he initiated two pioneering projects here in Grenoble that have greatly stimulated the European scientific and industrial ecosystem. The European Scientific and the Institut La Langevin, ILL, and the ESRF, the Synchrotron Radiation Facility that you all know. In his autobiography, he noted, "I prefer to clear virgin land than to cultivate a priest's garden." It's up to us now to expand the territory of our ambitions for industrial technologies by 2030 under this symbol. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Claire Giry. Thank you. We are together for today's here in Grenoble. And you know, Grenoble is a pioneer in terms of its local democracy tools, its development of soft mobility, organic and local food, its commitment to fight against precariousness, and for its ambitious policy to fight air pollution. With pleasure, I now invite Eric Piolle, the mayor of Grenoble. Eric Piolle, thank you. Welcome.
Good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to be there today, and I would like to obviously thanks all key hosts, the CEA, but as well all who came here for those 2 days. Dear Elvira Fortunato, Minister of Science, Vocational Training and Higher Education, dear Claire Giry, Director General for Research and Innovation and the French Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Innovation, dear Joanna Drake, Deputy DG of Implementation, Impact and Sustainable Investment Strategies at the European Commission, and dear Klaus Best, CEO of EIT Manufacturing. A few words first. I hope that for those who were at the City Hall last night, you ended well the party. Unfortunately, myself, I had to go back to the City Council that ended around midnight yesterday. And we are very pleased to welcome this event to almost close the French presidency of the European Union. Very important to us to host those exchanges and prepare the future together at a time where economy and industry are facing, I think, unprecedented challenges and around both economic sovereignty, energy and raw material crisis, and a rise of inequalities. And for people like me that started my career in the industry for 18 years, I started my career at a time where in Europe we were saying, so we will be plantless countries. Everything should be delocalized elsewhere, and we will only work with our brain. And myself, working on plants, obviously I was fighting those words at that time, saying, no, we need to work there, we need to transform material, we need to see a circular economy here, both because we need to work and contribute, and we cannot only work with our brain, we have as well hands, we have bodies, and so we need to encompass those views. And second, there is obviously as well external negative impact on those long chain. And I remember myself being in Barcelona for a work event. We had one day with Mr. Gorbachev at that time. And so for people like me working on worldwide supply chain, it was key messages that we learned that day with as well Harvard history professor, because they told us basically that in humanity history, major events, totally extraordinary events are occurring actually very, very often. And we do think with our engineering mind, we do think always with the Gauss curve, but as well doesn't reflect the life. And I kept this, it was in 2008, I kept it in my mind, saying that what we need is robustness. And I think what we work now on industry, what is the place of industry in Europe, mainly in France as well, is to think about what is the resilience of our system. And I think with the environmental crisis and inequality crisis that goes with that, I think this challenge is key, and even I think maybe the key for future and our ability to work together and to have sustainable society. As it was said by Claire, Grenoble has been appointed by European Union to be European Green Capital this year. And this is because our approach is global and systemic. What we want is to act on waste, biodiversity, mobilities, food, agriculture, even consumption, way we produce and consume. It was a topic for the month of May. Inequalities, it was a topic for the month of June. Water will be the one for July. And we do think this with really a systemic approach. And maybe that would be my keywords for your 2 days, because I saw that the topic is green and digital transformation. Those are not twins by themselves. It's not because we connect green and digital that suddenly we see the light and there is a roadmap designed there. We do have major green challenges, which means that we need to think about sobriety, we need to think about efficiency, we need to think about renewable energy. This first pass about sobriety, I don't know if I really like this word. I do like it because it says that we are over-consuming. So I do like this word, but I think what we need is prosperity without higher consumption, prosperity without destroying the life, as what we do in the last decade, unfortunately. So we do have these key challenges, and digital transformation actually can help, but it's not mandatory to help. We can have as well with technology, we can have rebound effect, and actually that is the main use what we saw, or the main experience what we saw, that each time we invent new technologies, we can have higher efficiency, but the rebound effect is actually making the things worse and worse. So working on those two things, thinking about how digital transformation can help this green transformation, thinking about how we work on those rebound effects and make sure that we don't go further in the wrong direction by inventing things that are mandatory to face the current challenges. I think that's a key topic. So I'm very glad that you are so many here and so many brain and so many experiences as well to work on those. And we do need industry relocalization. We do need maybe not for all, because everything that will be at a large continent scale, but we need really this transformation, and we need to think each time we invent something. We need to think about the way our society will use it, and making sure that we don't expand this or green gas emission just by rebound effect. So challenges, key opportunities. There is a roadmap that we need to define altogether, that you need to define. We do as political leader, and you do as research and industry people. So we have there a very exciting challenge, how to redefine our freedom in these new boundaries. So it's, to me, very key that this take place as well in Grenoble. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Piolle, thank you very much. We will see you in a round table in a few moments. Thank you. I would like to welcome Elvira Fortunato, Portuguese Minister of Science, Technology and Higher Education, and Portugal previously held the European presidency. Your applause for Elvira Fortunato. Thank you.
Bonjour à tous et à tous, à tous. Je préfère de parler comme ça en début. Et c'est pour moi un grand plaisir d'être ici avec vous à Grenoble et partager ce que vous faites, ce que nous faites aussi au Portugal, et d'être ici à 3 dimensions. Maintenant, je change pour l'anglais. Maria Gabriel, the European Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education and Health. Joanna Drack, Deputy Director General for Research and Innovation at the European Commission. Claire Giry, Director General for Research and Innovation at the Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Innovation of France. Eric Piolle, Mayor of Grenoble, dear guests. Good morning. What an honor to be here in such an important conference dedicated to industrial technologies under the auspices of the French presidency of the Council of the European Union. Let me start by congratulating your work throughout this presidency, the time you dedicated yourself to contribute to a more autonomous Europe, a more human Europe, and a more fair, inclusive, and sustainable European economic growth. I would like to retain myself in the last proposal, to make Europe a land of production, of high quality, high skilled, and better paying jobs, a land of innovation and technological excellency, where the economic development is aligned with climate neutrality goals, a Europe that supports innovation and digitalization without leaving no one behind. If we want all this, we need to trust and invest in science and knowledge. We need to work together, policymakers, researchers, higher education institutions, industry, large companies, and small and medium-sized enterprises, among other stakeholders. This cooperation will provide solutions towards economic and climate resilience, inclusive and fair economic growth, and towards solutions based on the efficient use of resources, renewable energy, and digitalization. These are exactly the main objectives of this conference on industrial technologies. The European industry is presently facing a growing number of challenges, and the actual practices will not provide a sustainable solution. The two main trends of green and digital transformation require a strategic call for action for all individual companies, but more and more also between the industries. The area of advanced materials and the corresponding technologies are crucial to deliver solutions to reach climate neutrality, circularity, and sustainability. Let me recognize the excellent work done on both the Materials Manifesto Roadmap and then the Materials 2030 Roadmap, with the support of the European Commission, the European Technology Platforms, EUMAT, SUSCHEM, Manufacture, and EMRI. Today, this represents an important milestone initiative for the planet, the people, and prosperity. The path is very clear: to support science, knowledge, and innovation, and to improve the industry's access to this scientific knowledge, because that will guarantee that research results will be transferred to the society and to the economy in the shape of products, services, and processes that will deliver impact in our daily life. At the same time, we need that these products, services, and processes become more sustainable based on the efficient use of resources, materials, and products, as long as possible, promoting circular economy and new and sustainable materials towards the Green Deal for Europe. The new advanced materials can be our allies to reach climate neutrality, circularity, healthy food systems, and sustainability in agriculture, transportation, construction, packaging, and electronic applications. New and sustainable materials can play a crucial role within the proposal for the CHIPS Act, for example. Europe needs to go behind traditional materials and step into a new era towards a resilient economy. I believe that we are in the right direction, building from the Materials 2030 Manifesto to a roadmap towards a systemic or even a mission-oriented approach regarding a common framework towards the advanced materials ecosystem in Europe, making advanced materials as a prominent solution to climate and digital transitions to serve the people and the planet. We already have scientific and academic institutions working along with the industry to develop new research, new services, new solutions, new activities, creating more public and private cooperation. Under the umbrella of the digital and climate transition, and in the scope of the Portuguese Recovery and Resilience Plan, we have launched an ambitious call for mobilizing and green agendas for business innovation, whose main objective is to boost new value chains that, supported by leading research and innovation, will bring us forward in key industrial sectors for Europe. This is a highly relevant component for promoting the twin transition through two essential conditions: investment and innovation. The implementation model is based on the creation of solid and structuring consortia between R&D entities in business, ensuring the development of high added value new products, services and solutions, incorporating knowledge and technology, diversification and specialization of national value chains, qualified employment and investment, again, in research and development. 51 agendas were pre-selected and will now enter in the negotiation phase. This constitutes a great step forward to strengthen industry value chains in areas like batteries, semiconductors, renewable energies, circular technologies, factories of the future, green hydrogen, among others. Pooling our resources towards sustainability, resilience and growth should be a common goal for all countries in the European Union. But allow me to point out that this will permit much more than safeguarding Europe's technology leadership, reduce environmental footprint and develop integrated value chains and reach advanced materials innovation markets. In a time when Europeans are taking measures to become more independent of international energy suppliers, relying on new materials will contribute to reduce European dependency on other regions and to address the vulnerability of our value chains, promoting European resilience. I hope that in the next 2 days you have a fruitful dialogue that will contribute to address all the challenges and changes that Europe is facing by improving visibility to industrial technologies, identifying policy options and priorities, sharing information, as well as a free space for networking and finding mutual goals with industry stakeholders. We are facing a materials revolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elvira Fortunato. And in a few minutes, a round table with closed bits. Before, I propose you a vocal message from Maria Gabriel. Maria Gabriel is a European Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education and Youth. For you, here the message of Maria Gabriel.
Dear Minister Fortunato, dear Mayor Piol, dear participants, I appreciate the opportunity to speak at the InTech conference today. Congratulations to the organizers for pulling together one of the largest gatherings of European industry innovators to date. Please join me in sketching out the industrial technologies of the future in this exciting community. In order to create a truly pan-European innovation ecosystem, industrial companies will need to be at the center of policy development. To get us there, the new European Innovation Agenda, to be adopted before the summer, will include the flagship on innovation ecosystems. Systemic change will be driven by the integration of policies, investments and instruments that will help Europe maintain and strengthen its recovery while also raising European deep tech startups to global leadership. For example, the new agenda will address the lack of scale-up financing, regulation to permit the rapid evolution of new areas, interconnecting regional innovation ecosystems, developing deep tech talent, and harnessing the potential of the entire innovation ecosystem. The new agenda will focus on deep tech innovation and startups in particular. I'm referring to innovations that tackle some of the most pressing issues we face as a society. Deep tech firms rely on an extensive pool of engineering talent, and these breakthroughs are founded on science and address the Sustainable Development Goals. Finally, they also contain a physical component in addition to digital components. I'm convinced that Europe will lead the new wave of innovation because of this last feature of deep tech innovations. Thanks to because of you, all of us in Europe are very proud of our strong manufacturing base and industry. This puts us in a strong position for the next wave of deep tech innovation. This discovery is the result of a collaboration between research and engineering rather than software development. And industry is a vital part of the innovation ecosystem because it helps startups and established businesses grow. Entrepreneurship, corporate venture capital, acquisitions, and the venture client model are some of the ways it accomplishes it. The need to stay relevant in today's fast-paced environment necessitates organizations to constantly reinvent themselves. License to operate requires innovation. It's no longer optional. In a few months, new competitors can go from promising startups to unicorns. And the startup environment has a lot of innovative ideas that industry may take advantage of in new ways. The venture client model is a new way of thinking in business. A product is co-created between the startup and the industry rather than an equity share is acquired. As a result, the company is no longer an investor in venture capital, but rather a client of the startup. Before concluding, allow me to introduce you to the Industry 5.0 Award. We launched this initiative in order to promote European-funded projects that result in more resilient, sustainable, and human-centric European industry. Nearly 60 people submitted their applications, and I'm happy to reveal the 3 finalists today, each of whom has a compelling tale to tell. First, Ramp PV is the project of a startup which is about to open its first PV panel recycling factory right in Grenoble. It is led by an amazing female CEO and had received funding from the European Innovation Council. Second, Sequoia is a project of Airbus working with academia on cybersecurity and solutions for data-driven circular economic business models. And the last finalist, but not the least, is Sherlock. Is a project of several mid-caps working with academia on human-robot interaction to improve working conditions and ergonomics. What a breath of fresh air is to see all of these initiatives aimed at advancing industry sustainability and resilience, while also meeting the requirements of society and its workers. And stay tuned because on September 28, 2022, at R&I Days, the award winner will be announced. To conclude, I'd like to invite all of you to join forces with us to implement the 5 flagships of the new European Innovation Agenda. Through an open mind, we can ensure that industry is a key partner in Europe's pan-European innovation ecosystem, helping Europe lead in deep tech innovation and startups. You have my best wishes for a successful conference, full of opportunities for networking and stimulating debates.
Thank you, Maria Gabriel, for this vocal message. She told us about the Sherlock project. For your information, the Sherlock project will be among the exhibitors in the EFRA village. It will be possible to discover it throughout these 2 days. There will be many other surprises, including tonight, a 10th anniversary Emery, a beer festival, and tasting of French specialties. And now, it's time to give Klaus Bitz a say. Klaus Bitz, CEO of EIT Manufacturing. He will now lead a roundtable discussion on green and digital transition. EIT Manufacturing is one of the 9 knowledge and innovation communities of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Klaus Bitz, it's yours. Klaus Bitz.
Yeah, thanks, Alexandra, for the introduction, and thanks to the organizers for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me to be here today, and a good morning to all of you. I'm Klaus, the CEO of EIT Manufacturing, and at EIT Manufacturing, we make innovation happen. This is our slogan. And innovation is key for the twin transition, for the transition towards the digital economy, for the transition towards the circular economy, for the transition towards the decarbonization of industry. And as Minister Fortunato and Commissioner Gabriel pointed out just before me, we need strong innovation communities to achieve the green and the digital transition. And with EID Manufacturing, we have built up a unique European innovation community with members from all the member states. We work with a variety of actors from the manufacturing industry to harness the different perspectives. We work with research organizations and universities, with entrepreneurs and innovators. We work with small, medium-sized and large enterprises, with industry associations and also with the investors to create a community in which ideas can flourish, grow, and become sustainable solutions for the manufacturing arena. Europe has been always the home of industry and a pioneer in manufacturing innovation. And this is also valid in the future, in Industry 5.0, in Industry 6.0 and beyond. This is the vision of EID Manufacturing, that manufacturing innovation is led by Europe. To achieve this vision, in our view, we have to rethink manufacture. We have to rethink what we manufacture and how we manufacture. In the past, industrial production was focused on process efficiency in the context of the triangle of cost, quality, and time. But the triangle has a fourth influence now. We have to take sustainability into consideration, into our processes and methodologies with the same importance as quality, time, and cost, to integrate sustainability into our thinking. We need to consider sustainability from the early design over the engineering, the manufacturing, to the usage of our products, in order to produce products with the highest degree of reusability and a minimal energy consumption. And the same for our production means. We have to rethink how we manufacture in order to move towards a carbon-free production, which will make Europe a role model for green manufacturing. And this will as well increase the competitiveness of Europe by becoming a market leader for green technologies. So far, my little introduction on EID Manufacturing. If you want to know more, we have a booth here, and I also would like to invite you to our joint event together with Manu Future and with EFRA. We will do the end of September in Brussels. And now it's a real pleasure for me to introduce Joanna Drake, our next speaker. Joanna will give us some insights on how far we have come already with the twin transition. As a deputy director in DG RDD, she has been in charge for the implementation, impact, and sustainable investment strategies since last October. Before this, she held leading roles in DG Environment and in DG Grow, in which she was responsible for the internal market, industry, entrepreneurship, and SME. And from that, she knows very well which challenges the industry are facing in the context of the twin transition. Joanna, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Klaus, for that introduction. Thank you so much for the previous speakers. Claire Jarry, I think, had to leave us already, Minister Fortunato, and Mr. Piol. Nice to see you again, Mr. Piol, because I'm really happy to be in the city where just a couple of years back, when I was chairing the jury for the Green Capital, I was very happy to announce your city as being the winner. So I'm happy to be here. But actually my love affair, if you like, with Grenoble goes back a longer time. 41 years ago, I was here as a pre-university student to study French in the University of Grenoble, thanks to the French government. So it took 41 years for me to come back, and I'm happy that the mountains are still there as I remember them, but I'm not sure that everything else is the same, which is really good because I know you've been working hard to make this a sustainable, really integrate sustainability in everyday people's lives and rethinking. So it's not only industry that needs to rethink business models and permeate, if I may, rather than just influence, permeate the thinking, a rethinking with sustainability, but also people's choices, everyday choices. But I'm here as Deputy Director General of Research and Innovation. Very glad that I have been invited here to say a few words as well from my end. As Klaus very diligently pointed out earlier, that my parkour in the Commission itself has taken me through the journey, luckily I would say, from DG Entrepreneurship and what is today DG Grow, the department in charge of growth, of industry, of entrepreneurship, to environment and now to research and innovation. And I was lucky enough to be in DG Environment when the Green Deal was not born, because it had been born, I think, in the minds of many people before that, but it was actually defined and it was actually set there at the top of the political agenda. But I'm lucky now to be also in research and innovation, where we know that so much money goes into innovation, so much money goes into research in order to find new ways of doing things, to do the rethinking, to actually define the rethinking, to visualize it, to make it happen, as Klaus said. But even more importantly, actually to deploy it, to make it really happen on the ground. So I'm really happy to be part of that process now. But this doesn't happen in a bubble, even if a lot of people think that we are living in a bubble in Brussels. I promise that we are not, because we are all the time being challenged, pinched into challenges of every day. Not to say the least, the challenge of COVID. We all know that. I think it's still with us in many ways. It has really made us rethink of how to make an economy work again. And of course, the Recovery and Resilience Facility has thrown money at it very diligently as well, and the member states have been very good at pinpointing where they really need to come back and build back better for themselves. But we also have invested 44.4 billion euros under the Recovery and Resilience Fund to directly support research and innovation in Europe, recognizing that this is a key cornerstone of turning the corner, not only of the economic downturn, but also of aligning our economic and competitive ambition with actually aligning ourselves with the planet, with the boundaries of the planet. I would say the second big challenge that we pinched into existence again is, unfortunately, the war still going on in Ukraine. A country which is associated with Horizon Europe since 8th of June, a few days ago, we're still in the month of June. The European Commission has recommended, just a few days ago as well, actually last week, that the candidate status for membership of Ukraine be confirmed, and that the European Council reacted very, very favorably to this at the end of last week. All of these, of course, has repercussions on our ambition, on our economic performance. If we just have a look at the spring forecast for the Commission, and I know all of you are following a lot what's being said about inflation and about growth, and how we had to review those figures. I don't want to be in the shoes of any central bank governor as I speak now, but if we look at the spring forecast from the European Commission itself, of course we had to revise the GDP growth in both the EU in general and also the euro area, which stands now at 2.7% for 2022 and 2.3% for 2023. And this is down from, and this is where the gap starts to be stark, 4% and 2.8% respectively, because before the war in Ukraine. Inflation will rise 6.8% this year. Hopefully, by next year, it goes down to 3.2%. Let's see. So all this tells us resilience is key, and resilience of industries even more key. And how do we achieve resilience? Do we just look at the order books and we're happy that they're full? Well, could be a good sign, but I don't think it's the glass full. We have to look beyond that, and we have to work harder on other fronts in order to make sure that the glass remains full and positive. What is the cause that we are proposing for our industry? As I said, resilience is the key focus. It is a twin transition, has been mentioned many times already by previous speakers. It's the green, it's the digital, it's how we combine the both, actually. And under Horizon Europe, this vast program encouraging and directly injecting money into research and innovation, under the cluster Digital, Industry and Space, the Commission has provided clear support for all member states intending to invest into the twin transition under the Future Work Programme for next year, 2023 and 2024. And I quote the amounts: 1.16 billion euros for climate change, climate action, 42.8%, and 1.35 billion euros for digital, which is 50.5%. I think the transition comes about because we are ready to create strong synergies between the investments. And this is the key part. Are we ready? Can we actually make it happen? It's true that the green transition has been driven by very strong political deadlines or target dates, if you like. The European Union, as we know, aims to be the first climate-neutral continent by 2050, an economy and a society with net zero greenhouse gas emissions, the so-called Green Deal. And the Commission proposed, therefore, a huge legislative package, part of which is the Fit for 55, but not only, as you know. This is also why at least 35% of the Horizon Europe funds needs of the 95 billion, that is, euro billion fund, has to support climate action. We have to put our money where our mouth is, and we have to make it happen by actually making it happen, by throwing money at it, and also making innovation happen, as Klaus tells us. On green technologies in Europe, we are still leading, but I don't think it is the era of resting on our laurels. We can lose it very quickly. We can lose the status if we do not accelerate, if we do not scale up quickly enough. And we scale up, I would say, to a large extent, also with the help of digital technologies, but again, not only. So I'll mention just a few ways of how we are proposing that this can happen faster. First of all, the hubs for circularity. Here, the aim is to target a geographic area, to coordinate existing industries and infrastructures in order to maximize circular approaches and obviously be very conscious of the key challenge that this requires that there is an adequate process design and deployment of digital technologies. For instance, novel sensing technologies and industrial Internet of Things. If we also look at chemicals and novel materials, we have a lot of room to build on this framework, which is called the Safe and Sustainable by Design. And we are thereby targeting the whole cycle. This is the rethinking that also Klaus talked about before. Advancements in digital technologies such as high performance and quantum computing will also boost the analytical capacity of models to describe and predict physical and chemical characteristics. But we also need to deploy research results to the benefit of society. And therefore, because of this, in April, we published a first industrial technology roadmap on low carbon technologies for energy-intensive industries. We developed, in consultation with member states and stakeholders, this roadmap, which sets the way to deploy solutions to decarbonize industries immediately. We have been mentioning also how much a main driver behind all this is not only to keep the leadership, Europe's leadership, but also because we need to invest better and more openly in strategic autonomy, whether it is in artificial intelligence, whether it is quantum computing, or in chips manufacturing. But the digital transition cannot work without the green transition. They have to work together. They've got to complement each other. They have to create momentum for each other. For instance, when it comes also to the ICT power consumption or the environmental footprint of the ever-increasing electronic waste. That said, the Commissioner in her audio message highlighted the potential of Industry 5.0 to support industry's efforts to achieve the twin transition. Europe needs to build on its thriving local and regional innovation ecosystems, and this could lead to a uniquely inclusive European model of development, and I emphasize on inclusive, in line with Industry 5.0 principles. That is human-centric, sustainable and resilient, and that guards against labor markets and wage gaps and associated threats to territorial and social cohesion. This conference, I understand, has had a long-standing tradition for more than a decade, and I would really like to commend the French presidency because of the cooperation with the presidency has been really excellent. So let's take this opportunity today and tomorrow to discuss with each other, to network, to learn from each other, but also not only to co-create, but to make it happen and to really make the momentum visible and impactful for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stay with us. In a few moments, the parallel session will start. Before, I ask all the speakers to join me for an official photo. Please join me, stay with me, and our photograph. Your applause, please, for all the speakers. You can go in the center. Okay. Cheese, applause for us. Thank you very much. The internal parallel session will now begin in dedicated rooms. We will therefore leave the plenary room, room 1, Chrome 1. Bring back young students to science and technology with Marco Falzetti. Titan 2, Industry-University collaboration in the context of European knowledge with Anne-Chloé Devic. Amphitheater Platine. Here, new partnerships 1-year review with Jürgen Tige. And room Chrome 4, efficient synergy between EU mission and industry with Shin O'Regan, European Commission Research Directorial. Thank you. We will meet for the lunch. Thank you very much.